Disclaimer. The topics of discussion in this particular video are of a controversial nature and may disturb some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, this is Juju Panda back, and I should talk about something else today. But something else, it's really just a continuation of what we've already been talking about. So, the whole Christian situation has gone from bad to worse. I mean, everything, there are newfound revelations coming out every day, newfound information that we weren't already aware of, and honestly, it didn't really help improve my mindset to everything that had already happened. I mean, Christian had raped his mom, in not so many words. You can't really, argue consent in this case because Barbara Chandler, it's never been diagnosed, but it's pretty clear that she's not been in the same space of reality as the rest of us. She's been, out there for a long while now. Her sense of, her mental state seems to be degrading gradually over the span of the years, and everything that's happened, year to date is sort of, catching up with her. It's really sad to say, and I know a lot of people do not like Barbara Chandler. She's arguably part and parcel to what Christian has become, but, that's not really the subject matter of this video. I sort of just reserved judgment, in the face of all this newfound information. I just, wanted to wait and see where this is all going to go. So obviously Christian's been arrested. That fact has not changed, but, they've actually appeared in court, or at least before a judge, and an official court hearing is going to be set for September 16th, I believe. And so they're incarcerated, and there was the whole subject matter of, was the court going to respect Christian's preferred gender pronouns, as in being considered a she as opposed to a he? And apparently the judge opted for he, based on the interpretation of the law. So yeah, and Christian actually, they basically put a little temper tantrum in court, specifying she, correcting the judge. You don't really want to piss off the judge, I know that the judge isn't really directly, involved in, your capabilities of defending yourself, or, the capabilities of the prosecutor to prosecute you. But at the same time, when it comes to sentencing, their mindset towards you can shift based on your portrayal as a person, your mode of character, how you act and behave in front of them. It can influence, your sentencing and things like that, which is something that Christian doesn't seem to be aware of. They insisted that they wanted to go back home to pick up some Legos, because, when you're about to face 10 years to 15 years in jail, Legos are very important, okay? You need to ensure that the Legos are, safe and sound for your release from prison, alright? You gotta make sure that they're there. Because when you get out of jail, the first thing you're gonna do is go back home, you're gonna play with your Legos. At least that's what Christian thinks. I don't know. The significance of their material possessions and wealth doesn't really have a bearing on, how things are going to go in court, But I guess this is testament to how Christian sort of perceives the world around them. They don't really seem to be fully cognizant of how serious, this situation is. And they're being defended by Dave Heilberg. I don't know how to pronounce that. I've heard people pronounce it different ways, but David Heilberg, who's actually defended some pretty high-profile cases. I mean, anything from, murder to, white-collar crimes to, drunken disorderly conduct or drunken driving. They've, seen quite a bit of action in the courtroom, so Christian probably lucked out in that regard, that they actually have a high-profile lawyer being willing to defend them. And surprisingly, the lawyer was a lot more charitable towards Christian, I guess, because he's his client. About, all of the information online, he basically discarded as misinformation and highly exaggerated accounts that his client was basically not all there mentally, and was arguing that mental health, all of that information out there was a contributing factor in their state of mental health, which I could see where he's going with this. At the same time, no. See, we have a number of people, valued historians of the internet community that have been documented meticulously Christian's life to this point. They know absolutely, through Christian's own words and behavior, what this man's capable of. And if you're wondering why I continue to call Christian a he instead of a she, I don't really respect their gender pronouns, okay? I'm just going to flat out and say it. I'm not trying to denigrate, like, transgender people as a whole. I'm saying, like, Christian, I'm making an exception for. The whole entire reason that they decided to become female was so they can try to get, like, banged. They wanted to get a boyfriend-free girl or a girlfriend-free girl for themselves, alright? That's not really indicative to me about gender dysphoria or a, longing to be a female. That's just a matter of convenience, because the whole SJW and, like, transgender movement coming about, they saw an opportunity to possibly find a girlfriend. Yeah, who knew? Thankfully, their pursuit to get a girlfriend has not been successful to this point, although, some might say that that's not entirely the case, given more recent events, but I don't consider that to be a viable option for a long-term partner. Anyway, David Heilberg, he was being very charitable towards Christian and almost sympathetic in court, which, for a lawyer defending their client, hey, more power to him, but for the rest of us, it just brought a bout of cringe to me, and there was like a stern warning to any would-be, like, trolls or members of the community that would try to interfere in the court proceedings, that, they should not engage in any activity that would be considered, hampering the court proceedings and things like that. But yeah, David Heilberg, he is going to be defending Christian to the death. Hopefully not. But I've seen the memes online, alright? Like, any self-respecting lawyer would look at Christian and just be like, Your Honor, my client is all fucked up. Can I get a free pass for this one? Please? Anyway, what's more concerning is that one revelation that came out was about Bella. And if you're wondering who Bella is actually the girl that was conversing, like having a conversation with Christian about, Barbara and their activities together in bed. Bella, I didn't really think was that bad of a person, but it turns out that the trolls have been doing some digging as to her background, and there have been sort of like allegations of her being like the head of a cult, engaging in borderline illegal activities and illegal activities, as well as morally reprehensible actions, throughout like the online space. And it wasn't really, if for the fact that a transgender student that found her activities deplorable, spoke out, we wouldn't know half the information that we do. Several people have come forth to sort of like shed light as to who Bella is. And supposedly she is a cult leader. She's a white supremacist. That is one of the core tenets of this particular quote-unquote cult. It was masquerading as a chess club of all things. And basically, they had detonated their own server by like posting images of gore and rape and things like that. Very nasty stuff, because if they tried to delete that content themselves, it could be tracked and recorded. What they wanted to do was they wanted to wipe this Discord server off the face of the earth. That was where they were meeting up, on Discord. And so they kept posting like very raunchy images, and with the like intent that they were going to report themselves and have Discord moderators like eviscerate the server from existence. So yeah, they were successful. So a lot of content was lost. We don't know the ins and outs of that. What we do know is various screen caps that seem to have been like surfacing, and allegations from other people that Bella had engaged in torture of small animals, usually hamsters, but also she's actively abusing a cat of hers, I think the name is Goober. A lot of the members of this quote-unquote cult seem to be young men and women of the age of like between 18 to 21, maybe a little bit older than that. They're definitely like college age. No, don't think high schoolers. Like, think like college age adults, because I know that Bella is currently attending college. But yeah, what's surprising is that all this information came about. And what Bella is guilty of is, this is alleged, we don't know for a fact, but it's strongly, suggested that Bella seems to have, coerced a transgender student to kill herself, through bullying and manipulation. She's a manipulator, all right? She can be very manipulative and convincing when you're in active conversation with her. With somebody like Christian stood no chance because Christian's ability to really exercise like skepticism in the face of what's a bad situation seems to be nigh because considering the fact that the trolls have mercilessly harassed them over the years, stands to reason that Christian doesn't really have a defense for people that don't have his best interests in heart. Alright. So Bella, it seems that their modus operandi was to sort of like manipulate Christian into killing themselves. That's the suggestion that a lot of people have been voicing online, because Bella seems to have a particular hatred of transgender people. I'm not sure if that carries over to like gays and lesbians, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think she herself might actually be a lesbian because she expressed an interest in a mutual contact between her and Christian named Fiona. Yeah, this whole monkey cage is getting a lot crazier by the day, and like people are trying to go after Bella now because like they feel like Bella is not exactly a good person and probably deserves to be in jail, or at least looked into by local law enforcement. Whether that's going to happen, well, I don't know. I'm sure that Bella has like, managed to cover her tracks fairly well. Probably is like taking active measures to protect herself. Given that Christian is now currently in jail, at least Christian is safe from her, ? But yeah, as far as like sort of what happened since Christian got arrested, I already told you that he appeared before a judge for like, establishing a court hearing date, and that's going to be on September 16th, 2021, I believe. Other than that, basically, there was the whole conversation of whether Christian should be sent to a male prison or a female prison. And I don't know. It's really up to the courts. The courts seem to be gearing towards sending Christian to a female prison, but then they changed their minds and said, oh, well, maybe we're going to send him to a male prison. Also, there's a matter of concern here. Christian is in desperate need of some mental help. Psychiatric evaluation aside, they need some, mental help. Counseling, some sort of some therapy sessions, something to address, the litany of mental issues that seem to be plaguing them, throughout their entire life. And, Virginia doesn't exactly have the best mental health care facilities, and the likelihood that has been suggested by people that are in law, but also just average Joes like me, they feel that Christian is probably going to be stuck in prison, alright? They're going to be sent to jail, which means they're going to be incarcerated, which means they're going to be stuck with other inmates. And transgender people, or people that are off like Christian, they have a stronger likelihood of being sexually assaulted or assaulted in general in prison because, they don't really mesh well with the prison population. In Christian's case, I think even if they weren't trans and they were just as they were, like the old Christian but older, they'd probably get killed anyway. Alright, I hate to be saying that. I do not wish for that to happen, but I'm just saying that in all likelihood, they would probably get shanked, alright? There's enough people in prison that would kill another man for lesser crimes than being annoying. And in Christian's case, as soon as he starts talking about things like Sonichu, the Dimensional Merge, Rose-Chu, Mewtwo, Magichan, people aren't going to have a large, amount of, patience to deal with that sort of thing, alright? They're probably going to look at Christian and just be like, yo, fresh meat. And I hate to say that, but that should also be a consideration of the courts, because Christian isn't exactly a normal person, alright? They are basically, in the words of Jordan Peterson, an oversized baby. They are an old baby. There's nothing uglier and more, reprehensible than an old infant, alright? Somebody that doesn't have the basic skills or capabilities to really take care of themselves, number one. Number two, they have not taken care of themselves for a long damn time now. It's actually a miracle that the Christian Chandler household has, survived as it has. In spite of their hoarding, the fire, Christian's, sort of just his lifestyle. It's just not very good. The fact that they're being incarcerated now, as opposed to, years ago, well, for this reason alone. A lot of people in the comment section, the last two videos, they were saying that, like, Virginia's law enforcement sucks, and it's surprising that they got arrested so quickly. And I have to say, I agree. I'm surprised that they got arrested this fast for something that was directly related to the fact that they raped their mother. Because I thought this was, like, solely because they violated that no contact rule. You know, stealing, like, $750 from Barbara. By the way, that $750 that they stole wasn't actually going towards the hotel that they were staying at. It was actually going for a shopping spree at the local mall. Because, you know, material wealth and possessions is a lot more important than securing your safety and amenities for, you know, what's a unpleasant stint away from your home. You know, and Christian, he had like $1 to his name, maybe. They had spent like several $100s in the course of just a few hours. Versus, like, I would spend that maybe in an entire month on bills, like things and that and stuff. I wouldn't spend it, like, in a couple hours on shit like that, alright? That is just balls to the walls insane to me. So yeah, if that's not more reinforcement to Christian's mental state, them being an overgrown man-child and not really knowing what priorities they have in front of them, I don't know what is, alright? So yeah, one of the captains over at the, like, you know, over at the police department, they basically said that they interacted with Chris and that everything was fine, that they were being taken care of, and that there was no reason to worry, so whatever. But you have people online that are advocating, like, them to install a mole at whatever, like, prison that Christian gets sent to keep track of, like, this whole Christian situation, which is just crazy. But granted, like, given the fact that Christian doesn't have access to a phone, he doesn't have access to a laptop, he doesn't have access to, like, a PC. Yeah, okay. Good luck getting somebody in that particular prison. I mean, that's going to be kind of suspect. Like, as soon as Christian gets sent to, like, a certain prison, maybe, like, a guard from another prison that happens to be a budding Christorian says, oh, I want to transfer. And they transfer him to that prison, and it's like, I want to take particular care of, you know, cell block B, please. Which happens to be the cell block that Christian gets sent to. And it's like, it's noticed by, like, cameras. It's like, you know, they call him into the office for, like, a review. It's like, excuse me, Officer Hendrick, we couldn't help but notice that you were spending an inordinate amount of time around a particular, you know, particular detainee, one Christian West Chandler. Would you care to, you know, share your explanation as to why you've been spending time around them? And the guard would probably come up with a cockamamie story about, oh, I was assessing their mental state and whether they were going to try to start a prison riot. Everything's clear. We had a nice long conversation about it, and they're not going to try to instigate anything or any problems here in the prison. All right. So, I don't know. Like, the fascination in Christian has been spanning over at least 2 decades. All right. Ever since Christian became an internet legend, a phenomena, just like an internet sensation that people have just latched onto. And, you know, the captivation is certainly there. It's like people that just can't look away from a slow-moving train wreck. Something that's happening in action in front of you. It looks horrible, but at the same time, it's too painful to, like, look away. You have to watch to completion. And people want a conclusion to this whole grand saga. Personally, I think these people are a little bit too obsessed with the life of an autistic man-child, but I digress. Yeah, I'm certainly interested as well to see how this plays out, but in all likelihood, they should probably get sent to jail. Also, I wanted to acknowledge something real quick here while it's on my mind. Yeah, I was completely wrong in my last video. I thought that had to do more with, like, the theft of, you know, the $700 from Barbara. I had no idea that that was directly related to and would lead to the court hearing of, like, Christian, what court date they were going to set, what they were guilty of, you know, him getting a lawyer. I had no idea that that was happening this quickly. Because, like, I could imagine that there's people that, like, armed thugs and things like that don't get this amount of, like, like, the court hearing isn't that fast, alright? Christian seems to be a marked deception, and I'm sure that the courts in, like, Virginia are fully aware of who Christian is. However, they don't know the full extent as to their online activities, which, God bless them. What's also surprising is this is the first time in like history that people outside of the internet culture actually know who Christian is. There have been several like news articles basically detailing this whole situation. They got a lot of things wrong, like pronouncing like they just refer to them as Chandler. They don't refer to them as Christian. They don't refer to them as Christine Chandler. They just refer to them as this Chandler person, which is kind of hilarious and cringeworthy. It tells me that normies just don't understand the internet culture. But they also detailed like what they were guilty of and their online activities and background year to date. So they got some things right, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure how I feel about normies outside of the internet culture spectrum knowing about Christian. This is honestly a book best left closed and only available to those that are aware of him. Because, you and I, we probably know a great deal more of Christian than, say, the average Joe walking down the street. They would find it very weird. I'm sure a lot of people would. They'd probably look at you and be like, well, yo, man, well, why are you telling me all this? That's why I don't really talk about Christian much, except to people that actually know who Christian is, or are aware of them. Because the reactions I get from normal people is bordering on disgust, but also, like, confusion. So disgust and confusion are two, like, mental states that probably don't go well together, but, in Christian's case, I can definitely say they do. But yeah, it's just shocking me how quickly all of this has played out. And this all started June 30th, 2021. It is now August 8th, 2021. As for me, why I wasn't reporting on this meticulously, I took a wee break for myself, alright? I got projects of my own to deal with. I do enjoy making YouTube videos about various topics of interest online, but also I have my own film projects on the side that I work on. I also went down to the local convention, Otakon 2021. Expect a video about that in the near future, where I could just take a break from the whole Christian saga and just take a breath of fresh air, stretch my legs, walk around, enjoy the beauty of various anime girls and women all around me, and talk to my local weebs and just be like, yo, what's going on, man? How's it going? I haven't seen you since the plague. Yeah, everybody was masked up, so don't worry. Everybody was exercising social distancing and due responsibility in the face of the global pandemic, so don't feel too outraged if you're hearing this for the first time. But yeah, I needed a break. I needed an out. My feet feel sore, and my throat, obviously I've been coughing a couple times from talking all day. It feels sore as well, but that's okay. I could still, talk to you all about various goings-ons. See, I was loosely aware of the transition of events between Christian, the whole revelation on the first video that I made, but also through to Christian getting arrested and having the whole event being live-streamed by the Killstream, no doubt, all the way to their court hearing, basically just talking about, what you're guilty of, and hey, let's set a court date. This is your local prosecutor. This is your assigned prosecutor, David Heilberg. He's going to be defending your ass in court. So yeah, how this plays out, like I said, it's just going to go from bad to worse. I can no doubt already see how things go from here. If they're sent to a male prison, I pray for Christian's soul, alright? That boy needs Jesus. Rocky Shoemaker should have stepped in and really honed in that Christian, more than anybody else I have ever known about, needs to be, they need Jesus. They need God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. Alright? Also, real quick, one of my friends at Otakon actually had seen them in person at Too Many Games, and basically had admitted to me that they covered their face up so they wouldn't be caught in any photos or video footage as Christian was putting on their little their temper tantrum. I thought it was a mental breakdown. I felt sorry for them at first, but then I found out it was just a temper tantrum. They're just doing that for the attention. So yeah. David Heilberg, actually, real quick, he actually acknowledges that Christian suffering from a mental disorder seems to go above and beyond to do a lot of crazy things and hijinks in order to get attention. that seems to be the direction that his defense is going to take. And that Christian doesn't need jail time, but he needs mental health, which is something that I was sort of like speculating as to what the courts and how they would respond to Christian, but where this goes from here, only time will tell. I can only keep you informed as best as I can. But yeah, the whole revelation about Bella, I just want to, like, you know, sort of end this with Bella, because now Bella's becoming she's becoming a person of interest to the trolls. And the whole, like, Bella seemed like she was just a well-meaning troll, quote unquote. Not really bad, but not really good either. All these revelations about Bella, all they tell me is that in Christian's whole grand saga, this is a story of villains. There is no good person that's a part of Christry, alright? Like, they're all in some way, shape, or form, like, bad people themselves. Like, for instance, Liquid's Chris. He's probably, like, the best of the trolls, because what he was doing was just, you know, poking fun at Chris by pretending to be Chris. But, like, still, he's making fun of an autistic man-child that can't take care of themselves. That's not necessarily something a moral, like, well-adjusted person would do in good conscience, but hey, you know, in the story of the internet, not too many people here are, like, good, moral, upstanding people. I'm sure everyone engages in a little evil to get ahead in life, which is truly unfortunate, because I don't think that's the way the world should work, but this is the way the world works, alright? You cannot go through the day except by great hardship, personal sacrifice, and sacrifice to your soul to be a good person at all times, in all ways, because some of the things that you do inadvertently are inconveniencing or fucking over somebody else, I feel like. I know that you can probably say that about anything, but, you know, again, try to see the point here. In Christian's life specifically, a lot of these people were, at the end of the day, making fun of a, you know, 30-something, like, autistic man-child that honestly had serious mental health problems to this point. The fact that they raped their mom, though, this is a sad turn of events that turns very dark very quickly. So, yeah. It just hones to home that this is a story of villains, just a massive shit show. No heroes, no, like, bystanders, maybe a couple bystanders, but, like, mostly villains. And Christian has to be among the biggest villain of them all, because instead of, like, walking away from all this, that they had several opportunities to do, they keep coming back and throwing it right back at the trolls. So yeah. Oh well, so it goes. Christian was arrested, did something terrible. Now he's going to face the consequences for it, and I hope they get the mental health that they need. Oh yeah, before I forget, somebody actually stole Christian's license plates. Yeah, both sets, front and back. It's been known for a little while now that Christian had a special particular plate that basically said Silent Chew in not so many words. And I guess some overzealous, quote-unquote, fan just had to have that piece of Christry in their lives. I'm not sure why, but the only reason that we know about this is that people actually showed up to where Christian's vehicle is. I'm not entirely sure where. Presumably that motel parking lot, like the Regency Inn. Or maybe it's been relocated to around the courthouse. I'm not sure if they allowed Christian to drive, because as far as I was aware, Christian was arrested, so he's not going to be able to really drive anything anywhere. I'm surprised that the vehicle wasn't impounded already, but at the same time, it was fully accessible to anybody. People had actually visited the site, and somebody had actually taken a little video signifying that somebody had indeed taken both plates, and yeah. Somebody left a little sticky note. You know how, like, when somebody hits you, and you're not there, if your car's parked, they'll leave a little sticky note that basically says, hey, sorry, but I hit you. Here's my contact information if you get a hold of me. Bye. This is not that. It was basically something that said, Airsoft was here, or something like that. I'm not sure if that's the individual that stole the license plates, but it was probably a troll that wanted to leave their mark in some way, so they thought the most least invasive way to do so was a little sticky note, so okay, whatever. Christian's minivan has seen some better days, alright? There's, like, visible signs of damage, wear and tear all around it. It's hard to say if whether the trolls, like, popped the tail light, you know, with a tire iron or something like that, but probably not. Probably, like, Christian being who they are, all of that wear and tear was probably already there, but you never know. But yeah, basically, people had talked about it on Twitter, basically revealing about a day or two ago. I had heard about it, and I was just kind of rolled my eyes because it's like, okay, congratulations, you have Christian's license plates, the ones that say Sanachu. What are you gonna do with that? If you're just gonna hold on to that as like a little memento, okay, that's one thing. But if you think that you're gonna be able to sell this someday, that's stolen property. Number one. Number two, that's like issued from the DMV, like the Department of Motor Vehicle, like Administration, whatever. That's something that they issue you, and typically you have to turn in the plates after you're like done with them. You know what I mean? You can't exactly just sell that, but okay. So hey, good job. You finally have a piece of Christery. Yeah. I'm also not advocating for people to break the law. Just so that we're aware. I'm saying this with the greatest possible sense of sarcasm and irony I possibly can. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and end the video here until something, comes up later that I wasn't already aware of. Anyway, till next time, guys, take care and peace. I hope you all have a better one.